Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Rheal Unwind with Rheal Urban. My name is Ashley.
And I'm Renee.
And again, together, we are the owners of Rheal Urban, which we focus on bringing financial education in fun, interactive ways, giving you the knowledge that you need to be able to succeed in the creating generational wealth.
And that's what we'll be doing. We're just talking about life, love, partnership, business, and really any kind of ship, any kind of relationship, a business relationship, coworkership, your boo thing. And again, life in general, I feel like we're in a time where we need more serious conversations that really pertain to life. It seems like nowadays there's a lot of entertainment going on and a lot of things aren't really being taken seriously, even though it's truly, truly affecting us. People are kind of just looking at it going, oh, yeah, that's happening over there, but we're not affected. No, we absolutely are affected.
Something that happens on a different part of the world that'll affect us here one way or another, whether it be something happening over in Ukraine and Russia with some of the wheat and some of the oils, and you're starting to notice like the sizes of things are getting smaller because things are having to be made here in the United States, which means that we may not have as many factories that are making it. We don't have as many resources available. Whatever is happening, it's starting to affect us as we're seeing other things happening. And it's important for us to be able to have these conversations. We all have something that is challenging that we're going through, and we need to hear what someone else went through that something is similar like ours so that we can see how we can overcome it.
And just speaking of eggs, the chick only costs $3. Why don't we just go out and buy the whole chick, and then get the hen for $35 and then we good. But
Right?
now you have a lifetime supply of eggs. And that was a serious note. Like you guys look into the chickens as a whole, because divvying it up and dividing and conquering is how they're killing us with these prices, right? Um, a lot of people have also been more prone to doing for themselves, gardening themselves, planting and growing their own food because of the shortage. It's also causing a lot of people to become healthier. And I don't want to say cause because we all should be healthy anyway. And that's actually something that we spoke about as well. Getting back to eating a healthier diet. So that was the same, more vegetables, more green, more vegan foods, if you will, or whatever just satisfies your palate.
It's important that you are prepared for whatever may come. A lot of people or weren't prepared for losing power on the West Coast or in the South, where there are storms happening, there are snow happening, like there are things happening, and being prepared, um, even if you don't need it, is always a better route to take than needing something and not being prepared. Getting your financial mindset together and building a healthy relationship with your finances. When you don't know what is going to happen, when the word recession is just thrown around everywhere. So if something is to
Right.
happen to your job or your family, how will you be able to provide and move forward on that? And that's how I help you with becoming prepared for whatever may happen, is getting your mindset ready. One of the biggest steps and sometimes the hardest step to take is actually admitting that you need to make changes to your financial mindset. A lot of people, they struggle in being able to realize where they have some unhealthy habits when it comes to their
Hmm.
money and how they handle their
Wow.
money. The second most important steps is actually starting to take those actions, looking
Hmm.
at it, saying, okay, this is what I need to work on, and making and starting to build and come up with a plan how to overcome whatever it is that you've identified as what you need to work on. And understanding that it's not going to happen overnight. Um, you didn't get here overnight. So it took some time. So it's going to take you building and breaking habits. You're going to stumble, you're going to fall. But the key is to keep going and keep continuing on down the path that you know will only benefit you in the future. And if it doesn't benefit you right now, it's going to help your children in the future because they're always watching.
As a mortgage loan officer, what I do is I help people gain access to the funds in order to gain home ownership or invest in their business, right? So I'm basically helping you get the access to the capital, whatever amount of capital that may be. This allows for you to invest as little as possible while using OPM. OPM stands for other people's money. In preparation of that, I do go through along with them, go through their finances. We review their credit reports. We also review their debt to income ratio. It means is we go through and ensure that they're earning more than they're taking on liabilities, right? You have more coming in than you have going out.
Okay.
We never want to have more going out than we have coming in, because then we're just upside down altogether. And we don't want to be upside down in our home.
Okay.
So I help them come up with a plan for their future. You know, what are your goals? And then we pretty much go from there. Once I'm working with you, I'm going to do everything in my power to ensure that you're able to reach your goal, right? If not, it's never a no, it's just a not right now. Always had the bug to really just help people. When you're helping others more than you help yourself, one, it feels good. And secondly, you guys are all coming up together. Nobody ever wants to be the only one who's doing well. That doesn't make sense. If you're the only one in your family that's doing well, then the rest of your family is looking at you and they're probably hating, right? Because you're not helping the family. You're basically not on code because you're not helping the culture. As far as me getting into it, it actually started with trying to understand my own finances. I had to relearn credit because everything I thought about credit and credit cards was just completely wrong. So after learning about credit, I said, okay, well, what's the next part? Once we have our credit there, nobody wants to continue to use their own money. Other corporations aren't using their own funds because then they would always be in debt. So I said, okay, well, how do I use my credit, because I've earned it? How do I use my credit to gain access to the better things while also living a minimalistic life? Then once I learned the tools that I needed to get there, what else can you do to help push the community further along? It was providing them with access to capital. A lot of people have big dreams, they have goals, but they don't have a plan to get there. So if you create a plan, I call it a life plan. If you create a life plan and you set goals and you have a smart plan at that, so that you have specific time frames that you want to execute these goals, then you can do it. And if it's just the capital that you're lacking to get there, let's go ahead and do that.
You have to set SMART goals. And that is something that I teach my students, is that you have to set these SMART, realistic, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely goals. That's what SMART is. And
that's what SMART is.
Yeah, and you have to have these type of goals. So when you're doing this in both aspects, when you're trying to change your financial mindset, you're trying to, achieve and get to home ownership, because most of us, that is our financial goal, is to have home ownership. That's one of them. It's either home ownership or you want to be an entrepreneur, business owner, because you don't want to work for nobody else no more. You tired of the 9 to 5, you tired of clocking in, you tired of doing your job and the manager's job, because that's usually what happens is you do it your job and the manager, especially if you good, so that was the first thing, to see how they coincide, because like I said, with your mindset, you have to have these goals. And it sounds like with home ownership, like you have to have SMART goals too. And then the second thing that you said was about, you took what you learned and you applied that, and that's why you're here. And I will be honest, that's some of the reason why I am here today in teaching the tools and the resources that I do, is because of finding out how affordable home ownership can be if you just look at home ownership in a different light. And when I say that, I mean living in a manufactured home. You can get a manufactured home, 3-bedroom, 3.5 bath on an acre of land for $40,000, and it's all yours, and financing it too. So like, you can do this, and home ownership is achievable It's just how you looked at home ownership previously. You may have to twist it. For us, shoot, we looked at home ownership as something different. We wanted to travel, and buying and purchasing an RV, that's home ownership to some people. Some people are like, I don't want a brick house. I don't want what is it, a stationary house. I want to be able to move in my home. I want to be able
Mm-hmm.
to wake up on the beach and not have to pay the taxes. Like I want to be able to have that life on saying I don't want to stick in one spot. I want to travel and see the world. That's home ownership to someone else. So
Mm-hmm.
showing them and teaching them that home ownership may not be the traditional way, is that something that's important to you? And it seemed like it was important to you to make sure that people understand, like, whatever home ownership looks like for you is my duty, your duty, you, to help
Exactly.
them get that.
We want to devise a plan that works for you. Success looks different to everyone. Home ownership looks different to everyone. Ownership period looks different to everyone. And so I was reading this book. It's called The Millionaire Next Door, and they were saying how people who acquire wealth, they don't have to have the flashiest of things. Now, there's opportunities out there for everyone to do creative financing to become owners of whatever it is to own, right? Whether that's a business, you can acquire a business that's already existing, right? You can acquire a home that's already been pre-built, or you can build your own home on land, mobile homes. You can drive your home, or have your home pulled onto your land. So that home ownership looks different to everyone. And I think whatever your comfort level is and your actual budget for life is, you should put money aside for that and then invest everything else. And when you're investing, that again goes into ownership. Are you investing into yourself? Because this is something that I want to do for the rest of my life. I want to make sure that I've invested this money and it sits here, but it also grows so I can just take a little bit off and live off of that. Or I can be, in this lavish city, lavish homes, and have this lavish car. And that's okay too, if that's your definition of success. Whatever it is, my goal is to read the fine print and help you achieve that, and ensuring that you're financially capable of doing that.
Would say together with the two of us with Rheal Urban, like, we want to make sure that people, number one, aren't taken advantage of, because we've seen that. We've seen people get taken advantage of when you're trying to accomplish and achieve your goals. So I feel like we both feel like that's very important to us. We take that serious and making sure that people, when they come to us, you don't feel like you got taken advantage of, or you got like, you feel like you're walking away, even if you say, I can't do this right now, or right now isn't the time for me. You know that you're walking away from us with at least a little bit more knowledge than when you came to us. And number two, you don't feel like you just got the short end of a stick. Like, you're people, you're a person, you're not just a number to us, you matter.
Mm-hmm.
um would you say that because of past experiences and things that have happened in the past, not just with us building business but just in life, like, is that why you're like, I'm going to give you me, like, I'm going to give you
Mm-hmm.
me, I'm not, and you're going to get me as a whole, because you said this, like, you're family now, so
Mm-hmm.
that's you giving them you. Would
Mm-hmm.
that come from like the past experiences that you've encountered?
I have a sales background, and my motto was, I treat everyone like I would want someone to treat my grandmother, right? You have to you have to provide tender love and care to your grandmother when you're explaining things. When she's trying to explain things to you, you have to have patience. And sometimes it's like that with family. And I say family because those relationships are sometimes the most tricky, because we do have each other's best interests at heart. It's just that we may sometimes not appreciate the answers that we're given. And like I said, it's not a no, it's just a no, not right now. But in our community, we're constantly preyed upon, right? We're constantly preyed upon, and we're not given the same equal opportunities when it comes to investing in ourselves, investing in our education, investing in home ownership, investing in businesses, and acquiring any of those. So I feel as though it's my duty, because you are family, and I do, I would want someone to treat my grandmother this way. It's my duty to go into the community and educate them on the grants, the down payment assistance programs, and just provide them with the information and education that they need so that they can reach their goals. Because I'm happy seeing you happy. And again, when everyone in our community is thriving, nobody is hurting. Everybody is happy. It's
That
enough
is
people
one.
out in the world trying to hurt us. I don't like, we don't need any more drama or any more, of anything that doesn't uplift our success within our community, or preying on our community.
Because something that a lot of people don't understand and don't know is listening to a podcast recently. It reminded me like the black dollar is so important in our economy, in the U.S. economy. We are the highest spending power. They get the most money from us as
They're
black and
about
brown
1.2
people.
trillion now.
Yeah, so we're at, I think we're at 1.7 trillion dollars spending dollar for the black and brown community. So that means that if we do build businesses and we do support each other and we do say, okay, I'm going to support you, I'm going to buy my home, I'm going to learn about getting my money mindset right with people who look like me, who understand sometimes my lingo, my language, who can understand my examples, my jokes growing up. Like we all got the black mama jokes, like, and
Right.
we all have experienced that, and it's like a kinship, and like you said, like family, but it's like this is kin in some way, shape, or form. Like I know that you my kinfolk, and once we get into looking at how we can help each other better and understanding that sometimes we're going to have to keep going to that business, even if we get bad service, even if when we open up our meal, you ask for mac and cheese and you got cabbage and you like, this is not what I wanted, but you still patronize them. You may call them and let them know, like, hey, so this is what I asked for, this is what I got. Most of the time, you'll get treated like, hey, I'm sorry, we'll give you a credit, and you'll get a credit. But understanding that when you go into Walmart, you stop for your own stuff, you ring
Mm-hmm.
yourself up,
You
you
sure
pay,
do.
and then you get to the checkout when you're trying to walk out the door with somebody saying, hey, 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 let me see your receipt. Well, if you wanted to make sure that I checked out everything, you should have rung me up. But
Absolutely. I
we
just went
have
to
to,
Sprouts and had the
right?
same experience.
And they'll bogart you too, like, hey, I need to see your receipt. Well, you should have rung me up. And if you want to see the daggone receipt that bad, you should have rung me up. But these are things that we have to understand. Like we endure this every day from other companies and corporations. We have to sometimes be inconvenienced with the inconveniences of continuing to go back to patronize each other so that we can build and we can see like, hey, this is my community, we're willing to work. And this is something that I'm learning is like constructive criticism. It's okay to get that constructive criticism. Hey, you forgot this. Hey, you didn't do this right. You didn't even greet me when I walked in.
Only way to grow.
Constructive, that's the only way to grow is when someone tells you or points out where you lack. And it doesn't mean it's something wrong. It just means this is what I need to work on.
Mm-hmm. I absolutely agree. And like I just said, that's the only way that we're able to grow. And to be honest, constructive criticism, that's free. That's
Mm-hmm.
free. Imagine having, someone come in and patronize you and then write a horrible review. Now you're affected by all the other people that are reading that review, when you can just ask them like, hey, do a little survey for me. Let me know, what's going on. But even still, like, that's free criticism to help you get things in order. Sometimes it needs to be taken with a grain of salt. And sometimes, if it's a repeated, something that you're hearing repeatedly, then, you may want to look into that. And that goes for me as well. When I hear things and they're like, hey, Renee, you know, okay, I've heard this, more than once, more than twice. Maybe I should do some self-reflecting, look at myself and say, hey, maybe you could tweak that a little bit and perform a little better in this area.
Yeah. And that's important in life. Knowing sometimes how to pivot and how to move and how to operate in being uncomfortable, because sometimes life, like that's when you progress the most, is when you are the most uncomfortable.
Don't be afraid to pivot. Don't be afraid to, write new goals, but definitely try your best to achieve them. Don't just give up, just pivot. And failing forward is better than not trying.
Because you're still
All
moving
day, every
forward.
day. Exactly.
Yeah, you're
You're
still
still
moving
moving.
forward.
Yeah, that a lot of good gems today. I'm really happy that we had this conversation because I feel like we covered a lot, and I think it was beneficial for me just hearing some of your perspectives on a lot of different situations. So if you guys like this conversation, you like the information that we shared, or you want to hear more about a particular subject, please feel free to comment down below, like, share, repost, tell your friends. And we want to hear from you. What are some things that you guys want to talk about? Because we'll continue to bring these subjects to to the table so that we can discuss them. Because I'm sure you guys want to have more elevated conversations that allows you to just talk about life, let your hair down, talk about being a parent. Yes, we teach financial literacy. Ashley is a money mindset coach. I'm a mortgage loan officer, and I also am a business credit specialist. But again, those are our passions. Yes, we'll give you information if you'd love to hear about that. But we're also women and women of color.
Yeah.
And we live in this world, in this society, and we see everything that's going on. And whether we speak about it on a regular doesn't mean we don't we're not paying attention, or that we're not directly or indirectly affected by everything that's going on, that's taking place.
So if you want to hear, like Renee said, hear more, just make sure you follow us. You can find us on social media at Rheal Urban, everything. So Rheal Urban, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram.com, all of that is Rheal Urban. But us coming out here and coming and having this discussion, it's important because as women, we sometimes don't have that community, especially women of color. We don't have that community where we can talk and we discuss and we can be vulnerable and we can be like, oh, so you're going through this too, like, and you're not being judged because it's like, oh, I remember because when I was growing up, yeah. So we have and we want to build this community because it's important for us to see women who look like us who are striving for the same goals, which is generational wealth. Some way or shape or form, we're all trying to strive to have generational wealth or create generational wealth. What it looks like for you may not be what it looks like for me, but we all have goals that we need to achieve. And we need people who look like us, who understand and identify with us to help us with holding us accountable to achieving this goal. We're learning every day that
Every
if
day.
we don't help each other, no one else will. We are what we have. We are who we have. We are who are going to help. We are going to help each other because
That's
we're
right.
learning that there is no one else who is going to come in with a cape and say, hey, I got you. Like, no, we have to save ourselves. We have to save our families. We have to save our communities. It's on us to do this. Now, it doesn't have to be on your shoulders individually, but together we can all carry a piece of that weight.
Yes.
So doing your part, which may be coming onto the show and telling us what you do. Because like Renee said, that's what we want. We want to hear from you because that's the only way you could be giving somebody, you could give somebody else an idea like, hey, like we're $1.7 trillion in. It's enough money to go around if somebody wants to do the same thing as you're doing. There's enough of
Mm-hmm.
it to go around because somebody may not like the way that I say it, but likes the way that you do, vice versa.
Yep.
But we have to understand that the only way for us to rise is for us to be able to be that stepping stone, to be able to be that shoulder to lean on, that back to, to hold on to when you're scared, those eyes to see what's coming from you. We need our past, we need our presents, we need our futures. And as we need our elders, we need our current right now, and we need our generations that are coming up because we need to be able to tell these stories and learn the stories from what has happened, what has worked, what hasn't worked, and how we can correct it so that it can be better for those ones that come after us.
If you didn't just said a word, oh, thank you. Yeah.
So this is important. Like these conversations are important, and I hope that us coming and talking to you, like us having this conversation, it opens up additional conversations to be had because we are so far behind in a lot of different categories. And finances is the biggest one that we are falling behind. We know how long the dollar stays in our community, 6 hours. But you go to a different community and it's 28 days, the whole month. So we have to learn how to help each other so that we can grow as a community, as a people, because we have the power. We just need to learn that we have the power.
That's right.
All
All right. So thank you guys again. I'm Vernay.
And I'm Ashley.
And this is Rheal Urban. And this is where everybody comes. This is where the real comes to unwind. So we talk about real life situations, real life finances, and life. Yeah, everything real.
Real life. All right. So again, if you want to talk to us, you want to holler, you want to follow, just follow us. And again, we answer any questions that you have. And thank you. And thank you, Brene, for making me be like, come on, let's do this. Let's do this. Because this was good. This was a good conversation. And I feel like when we have these conversations, it doesn't just help someone else, it also helps us.
Yes.
Because it gives us that motivation to be like, okay, we can keep going. Because if nobody else is going to support, we at least know we got one person watching, which is the other one.
But yeah, like you said, like this is therapeutic. I think communicating in a healthy way is always therapeutic. We learn from each other, we get different perspectives, and it helps us really sit and ponder on ways that we can grow as an individual.
Yeah, it definitely does.
And as a couple.
Yep. Yep. I want to say thank you again for joining us, and we'll see you when we come back.